as you say that, as you sort of adopt that voice of questioning, I just physically get angry, that question of, I think it's the judgment that comes with saying, to characterize something that at its best is so humane and so kind of positive, and so my kind of sympathies are obvious, but to characterize that as deviant or as kind of other and as evil, so strongly and so clearly, in a way that maybe sort of conservative people, religious people don't characterize very obvious problems like crime, like murder, like rape, like child abuse, that it doesn't stir the same, sort of labels, which is bizarre, but it's also where the church has such an important role, because more than 80% of South Africans say they are Christian. So the ripple effects of this, it's not great for you and your poor spouse that you guys were kind of, thrown into the discussion, or kind of, at the forefront of it. But it is a very important discussion, I think, also because we know the risks that people who are gay face in communities where they're assaulted and
murdered.
Yeah, murdered violently.
I think that that the visceral response, kind of meets the visceral response on the conservative side, and that the open invitation is the invitation to curiosity. Okay, so what's that about? Who gets disempowered if this is allowed? What is the extent of our welcome, and what is the nature of our welcome? What is it that gets challenged in you if I choose to be with a her rather than with a him? Kind of my hope is that what happens is opening a space not only for the conversation about human sexuality, which is, I think, maybe one of those iconic, it's a representative conversation. The conversation about human sexuality is a representative conversation because actually there's a conversation about patriarchy, gender, about power, about masculinity, about what are our roles in society, what really makes for human flourishing, what really makes for well-being, what does it really mean to be a person of faith, whatever faith you ascribe to. What does it mean when you get out of the when you get out of the I'm right and you are therefore wrong seat, and that what happens when we accept that no one of us has a corner on the truth, and in fact that we are the body of Christ. It's not any individual person, but it is as we live together in the best of who we are that we truly represent what it is to be Christian.
It's interesting. I've been reading a book about religion for atheists, and one of the arguments that this philosopher makes is that the genius of the Christian creation story is that Adam and Eve both sin. And so the kind of originators of all of us, the we, are sinful. And so that opens up the conversation and that curiosity, because no one has that corner of truth or kind of spotlessness. But I suppose that's it's easier to entertain that when you're not an archbishop signing off rule books or whatever.
Well, even the poor archbishop who signs off rule books doesn't sign them off by himself.
Poor man.
Yeah, even that piece of it is also realized in community.
Can't escape it.
Yes.
No man is an island, no woman either.
Well, but and you know, sort of there's sort of the unoriginality of original sin. But before that, there's the absolute originality of original goodness.
That's encouraging, if you ascribe to the theology. My last question then is the support. You yourself said you're your father's daughter, and he's watching over this conversation in a way. But what has your family's response been? Not only your parents, but your nieces, your whole family.
On the whole, very supportive. Surprised.
You must be happy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am, and I think that ultimately that's where everyone lands, is that we want for you what makes you joyful.